you doing today? I'm so excited to be here. I just need to try to tag everyone here in the group, and then we'll go ahead and get started. All right, so if you're watching the replay, send a little wave, say hello. I am so excited to be here with you guys. There's definitely some new faces in this challenge, and I'm so excited to get to know everybody and get to meet everybody. And I have been having so much fun. Hi, Carrie. Hi, Lori. Okay, I'm going to have to cue this up on my phone so that I can see the chat, it looks like. There we go. Yeah, because I can't keep this one up. All right. How are you guys doing? How is the Mystic Visions Challenge so far for you guys? We're on day 3. So please just let us know, how's it been going? I've been so excited by all of the engagement. I've been so excited to read all of your guys's readings. It has been so fun. Just making sure everything looks good. Hi, Jamie. Loving it so far, Lori. Awesome. I don't even see it in the group. What's going on? Hello, hello. Oh, there we are. Okay. And did my tag go through? Did you guys get notifications that I was live? I don't think it went through. I'm going to do it again. There we go. Hi, Angela. Hi, James. Welcome in, everybody. I'd love to hear how it's going in the challenge so far. Did you get notify, Lori? Great. I've been having so much fun giving feedback and seeing your guys' readings. Awesome. Welcome in, Nona. Hi, Andrea. Oh, no worries, James. You can actually do more than one per day, too, if you need to. So while we're waiting for more people to jump on, let's talk a little bit about this journey. So I know that the welcome video was pretty brief, but each of these spreads is designed to take you on a journey. And you may have noticed the story on each and every one of the spreads. And we'll talk more in depth about that when I go over the first three spreads. But it's really meant to build off of each other. So one of the most important things that you're going to want to do at this point, if you haven't already, is narrow down one manifestation that you're going to work on for this 10 days. And if you haven't felt really clear about how each of your spreads has connected with your manifestation, I invite you to go back, look at your spread and see about interpreting it through the lens of that specific manifestation. Oh, awesome, James. I'm so glad that you're here. So to get us started off, why doesn't everybody in the chat just share what you're manifesting? What are you manifesting in this 10-day challenge? And I'm going to go ahead and get the slideshow up while you guys do that. Hi, Yvette. Hi, Jean. Welcome in, everybody. Just love to hear what you're manifesting in this 10-day event. What is going to be your focus? Hi, Maida. Welcome. My last reading said needed to be more specific. So working on that. Yeah, you're definitely going to want to have like a point of focus for all of these. I've really created these spreads, and this is the first time I've ever done this, but they kind of all build off of each other and they all surround your manifestation journey with one manifestation. Um, being debt-free and living comfortably. I love that. When it comes to manifestation, when it comes to your outcome, one thing that really is powerful is to state it in the positive. And so instead of debt-free, which is kind of stating it in the negative, right? The concentration is on debt. What if you were to rephrase that, what would that be stated in the positive? So maybe it could be financial security, financial abundance, something like that to concentrate on. We don't ever want our manifestation to be stated in using terms of things that we don't want. Abundance, wealth, health. I love that. Clarity. Clarity on what, James? What are you manifesting clarity on? I'm trying to manifest money. Yes, yes, yes. Starting off with a low amount first. I love that. Manifesting a daily, regular practice of magical, spiritual self-empowerment. Daily practice. I love that. Love with a certain person. Freedom. Hi, Cecilia. Hi, Vicky. Personal fulfillment. Yes. Honestly, I think a lot of times our manifestations are for fulfillment. Even if we state them for something else, if we really get down deep into it, it's that feeling that we think that we're going to get when we have that feeling of fulfillment. I love that. Anybody else want to share before we get started? Feel free to share your manifestation. Okay, let's go ahead and get started, guys. Welcome to the Mystic Visions. I'm so excited to be here with you today. We're going to start laying the foundations for manifesting, and I really want to help you get the most out of this journey. I want to help you to understand how to best use these spreads for your manifestation. Oh, I love that, James. Clarity of purpose. All right. A little bit about me. Some of you, this is our first time meeting. Welcome. I'm so happy that you are joining us in this challenge. My name is Sunny Sink, and I'm the owner and founder of the High Priestess Tarot School, Tarot Practice Academy, and Magic and Intuition Mastery. These are the 3 offers that I have to help people with the overarching theme of everything that I do is to help people step into their magic, to step into their power, and to celebrate themselves and to create the life of their dreams, to create the life that they want. In High Priestess Tarot School, I help people learn how to read tarot. Tarot Practice Academy is where people go to get certified in tarot. Tarot Practice Academy is also where people go to practice with their peers. So we have tarot practice sessions over there. And it's also a place that people go if they want to start a tarot business or spiritual business. I have a lot of business tools there, and it's an ever-growing library of business tools in the Tarot Practice Academy. And then lastly, Magic and Intuition Mastery is my flagship course all about trusting in your intuition and stepping into your magic. And we'll talk about those a little bit more later on in this challenge. But for now, I just kind of wanted to let you guys know a little bit about me. I have been coaching. I'm a master level certified health and life for 7 years now, and I've been coaching full-time for about 6 of those 7 years, and I'm really excited to be here with you guys today. Okay, on today's agenda, first we're going to talk a little bit about manifestation. What is manifestation, and how do we manifest our dreams? Then we're going to talk about manifesting with tarot spreads. I'm going to talk a little bit about how to get the most out of this challenge. And we're also going to do some spread walkthroughs with the first 3 spreads to help you guys really get a sense of how to read with spreads. While it's especially going to be beneficial to people who are beginners at reading with spreads, I think anybody could get something out of that. All right, so manifestation. If you haven't shared your manifestation with us yet, feel free to share it in the chat. What are you manifesting during this 10-day challenge? The number one I like to think of 3 things when it comes to manifestation, magic, creating something from nothing. I like to think of 3 big keys. Number 1 is intention, number 2 is action, and number 3 is belief. We cannot manifest something without all 3. That's my personal opinion. We can't do the magic if we don't have all 3 of these things. Okay, so let's start with intention. Have you set a strong, detailed intention? Um, this is so important. And so, for example, I'm just going to pick on Lori because hers is still here in my screen. Her manifestation is still on in the screen. Personal fulfillment. Personal fulfillment is great to want. And do you have a strong, detailed vision of that? Do you have a clear vision for your manifestation? I'm so sorry, guys, if you can hear my cats fighting. Okay, so I'd love to give an example when I talk about creating a strong vision for your manifestation. Excuse me. Come on. Move. Okay, sorry about that. I like to use a pen or something physical when I talk about manifestation because somebody manifested this pen. There is a creator of this pen, and that creator had to know every single detail before it could be made, including stamps, including forms, including every single bit of material that would need to be used to create this, right? It's no different with your manifestations. And so, since I'm picking on Lori here, and I used hers as an example, Lori, what does personal fulfillment look like? How will you feel? What will you be doing when you have that? Who will you be around when you have that? I think that this is one of the things that we forget about when it comes to manifesting. We have this sort of vague idea of what we want and this vague idea of what it looks like, but without knowing every single part of it, every single little detail of that manifestation, we can never achieve it. You can't achieve a manifestation that you haven't dreamed of. So, this is one of the huge things when it comes to manifestation is that intention. What is the manifestation? Setting that intention and making sure that it's very, very, very clear. Cecilia, do all manifestations really require action? Yeah, I think they do. I'll talk about that next. Some things are things I would like to have happen and believe it will, but in the right time. For some things that I manifest, I feel that it's meant to be, it will happen. Yeah, absolutely. And I can guarantee that you'll take at least one action, even if that action is setting your intention, but probably more than that, right? Let's talk about actions. Are you taking actions towards your manifestation, and are you listening to inspired action? Because our intuition can give us action steps. They can tell us the vibration we can move into. Our intuition can tell us small little steps that we can take to put ourselves in the version of us that has the thing. So a good example of this, Cecilia, would be something that's very like mindset, right? So maybe I want to manifest having a better relationship with myself, right? Maybe I want to manifest self-love. I can do a burning ceremony, for example, letting go of the things that don't serve me and the beliefs that are standing in my way from self-love. That's an action, right? And then that can help me shift my mindset when it comes to self-love. And so anytime you see magic, there's always some sort of action piece. This doesn't mean that I have to buy myself a gift every day for self-love. It doesn't have to be something so tangible. Even as like a fire burning ceremony, that can be pretty tangible. It can be writing a journal entry and deciding that I'm going to love myself, right? So there's these actions, whether they're subtle actions or whether they're outward actions. There are actions that always have to take place for your manifestation to happen. I found that writing the spreads in a journal as well as typing it on screen is a lot more powerful. Yes, journaling your readings is an action, right? This doing a reading for yourself for your manifestation is an action, right? So the action doesn't have to be big when it comes to manifestation, but there needs to be a shift because if you are the person who has that thing right now, you'd have that thing. So there's an energetic shift, there's a strategic shift sometimes that has to happen for us to be in the energy, in the vibration, and in the place where we can have the thing, right? So some things take a lot of action. So for example, if I want a multi-million business, I'm going to have to take a lot of actions to get there. I'm going to have to create a lot of things. I'm going to have to sell those things. I'm going to have to step into the experience of somebody who has a multi-million dollar business. I'm going to be having to think in a certain way. I'm going to have to act in a certain way. I'm going to have certain strategies for that. That's a very outward sort of thing, right? Whereas something like loving myself more is not nearly so outward. There's not as many physical steps, outward steps that need to happen for that. But loving myself could help me become a multi-million dollar business owner, right? Hope all that made sense. Yes. Is that your manifestation, Stacy? Balance? Finding balance between launching my business and cultivating my healing? That to me feels like ease, like maybe just manifesting for it to be easy. I like that. Oh, Cecilia, I guess in my case, it would be not obsessing over it. Yeah, releasing that sort of tension that we have when we're like clutching on to our dreams and our goals so hard. Releasing is an action. Letting go of the outcome and trusting the universe to bring it to us is an action. And there are specific actions we can take to help us with that release as well. Things like burning ceremonies, things like affirmations, pulling cards, asking tarot, the question of like how can I best release this, and stop obsessing, right? Totally makes sense. Okay, so are you taking action towards your manifestation? Different manifestations require different action. Like I said, sometimes they're outward, sometimes they're more inward. Journaling is an action. Pulling cards on it is an action. And are you listening? I spelled listening wrong. Are you listening to inspired action? So I'll give you guys an example of this. So this was when I had shifted everything in my business. I got a divorce. I moved in with my dad. This was in summer of 2021, and I knew that I wanted a reset. I knew that I needed a reset in my business. So I decided to reset. I took a couple months off, and a day came where I was like, for this month, I'm going to meditate every day. It was right around the first. I think it was August 1st or June 1st. I think it was August 1st. I said, okay, this month I'm going to meditate every day. So I meditated for like day 1, day 2, and then like I'm working or doing something at my computer on day 2. And I just had this this thing pop into my head that was like, what if I did a meditate with me on TikTok? So this was before I had any TikTok followers. I now have 12,000 followers on TikTok. And I was like, okay, like what's the worst that could happen? Like nobody joins me. It's fine. I'm meditating anyway. So the next morning I did my meditation with others. I went live on TikTok. I don't remember the first or second day. I feel like they weren't very structured. And then I had people showing up. I had people who wanted to meditate with me. So I created a bit of a routine around it. I created like a little teaching moment. And then I would pull some free oracle cards after I was done. And it really blew up into this. Like without that inspired action 3 years ago, I wouldn't have what I have right now with the High Priestess Tarot School, Tarot Practice Academy, and Magic and Intuition Mastery. So these little inspired actions, these little ideas that kind of pop in from nowhere, or, a lot of times for me, it happens when I'm working on artwork. These little inspired actions that come from tarot or like just a feeling or a knowing or our intuition, following those is the quickest way for our manifestations and to our manifestations. Then lastly, so we've got intention, we've got action. Lastly, we've got belief. And I kind of alluded to this a little bit. Who do you need to be and what do you need to believe to have this thing? right? Because if you were there, if you were in those beliefs, if you were in that vibration, if you were doing the action, you would have the thing. So we have to recognize, okay, I have some things that are sort of missing. Maybe it's in my vibration, maybe it's in my beliefs, maybe it's in the type of help that I'm getting, the type of support that I'm getting. I love how James just kind of talked to the people that I'm surrounding myself with. There's so many things that kind of go into a manifestation that we have to believe that we're worthy of it. We have to believe that we can get it. We have to believe that the actions we take are going to work, and we we get into that sort of vibration of the thing that we want to achieve. Make sense? So these are kind of the three aspects that I think that are the most important when it comes to manifestation. Is there anything that you guys think I missed? Is there any part of manifestation that you think that this sort of simplified version of manifestation is missing? Because we could totally discuss that as well before we move on. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the next slide then. Okay, so we kind of talked about what's necessary for manifesting. Let's talk about what we can do with tarot to manifest. Maida asked, do you have to do it every day? Nope. A lot of manifesting, I truly believe, has to do with becoming that person that has that thing. And so that takes time, right? Expanding into that version of ourselves, which I feel like I used to think of like personal spiritual growth as something along the lines of I need to be a better person. I need to be better than I was yesterday. And when I was teaching astrology, actually, I had this realization after months and months of like really leaning into astrology and living with astrology and basing my personal growth on the astrology, the collective astrology. I started to recognize that it's all about expansion. It's all about I'm ready for this new version of me. I'm ready for this new piece of me, and just expanding into that one little piece. It's really hard to make a jump, right? From a certain part to like transforming a lot of things all at once. It's easier to have like a small focus that we're working on. When we achieve that, we have a new small focus that we're working on. So we're just expanding gradually and gradually and gradually. Andrea, visualization helps me so much. Yes. Yes, it helps us to get into that vibration, right? In fact, we are in that vibration when we're visualizing. And so visualization is probably one of the biggest things that we can do for our manifestations is to visualize that result with clear, clear, clear intentions. So knowing exactly what it looks like and visualizing it. Another thing that I do is I like to write out like a visualization. So I have this sort of this always changing breathing document that's my vision, and then I sometimes I'll like read it to myself and record it, and then I can listen back to it, which is really nice to help me really visualize that manifestation too. Okay, so let's talk about manifesting with tarot spreads now. What are some things that are going to help us manifest with tarot spreads? So number one is asking really great questions to get powerful clarity and insights. The thing about tarot that is so beautiful is that when we ask very good questions, we can get these aha moments. Has anybody had an aha moment in the last 3 days since they've been doing their readings? Let me know, just yes or no in the chat. Have you had an aha moment? These aha moments change us in that area of vibration. They change those beliefs that I was talking about, right? These aha moments, oops, really help us in this belief section. Who do we need to be and what do we need to believe? Has anybody figured anything out in the last 3 days about who they need to be and what they need to believe through tarot? Have you thought about some different actions that you could take in your manifestation through your readings for the last 3 days? Has it helped you have a stronger detailed intention or a clearer vision? Right? So this insight and the clarity that you get from these amazing questions that we're asking ourselves that we probably wouldn't be asking ourselves if it weren't for this challenge, right? Cree cree. Yes, this is alive. Welcome. All right. So, clarity and insights from asking good questions is one of the best things that tarot helps us with. A way to tap into the inspired action. So, when we are doing a tarot reading for ourselves, we're getting inspiration. All of these action steps that we think of are coming from our intuition. And so that's inspired action. It's a really great way to tap into inspired action. Another way that I really love is through art. Even just coloring in a coloring book, it opens up a sort of creative part of us and it helps us to be present in the moment. And I think both of those things are kind of required as the sort of presence and the openness. And those also come in when we're using tarot. Yeah, Andrea. It was more like my intuition reminding me again. Yeah. We're opening ourselves up to our intuition, reminding us again of things that it's likely already told us. Absolutely. Um, it can provide deep insights into your current situation. So you may be ignoring a certain feeling that you've been having. You could be ignoring some limiting beliefs that are kind of lurking under the surface. Tarot can help bring those up. They can bring up those limiting beliefs. They can bring up your feelings about the current situation. They can also provide validation for things you're not giving yourself credit for, right? I use tarot for that a lot. I feel like the world beats us up so much. Why not use tarot for some validation? um, they can provide insights on how you can visualize your outcome. So they can help you get clarity on that outcome for your visualizations. And they can bring insights into your action plan for your manifestation. And I think that truly each of the spreads that we're going to be using in this challenge have a little something to teach us in terms of our manifestations and our manifesting. Yes, Andrea. Um, and so there's just so many benefits to using great spreads. Here's the thing, it can't just be any spread, right? It needs to be really good spreads that ask really good questions for your manifestation. Yeah, yes, it will be. You'll be able to replay it and watch it back here in the group. All right. So, we've kind of covered manifestation and we've kind of covered how tarot can help us with this manifestation. There's lots of other elements too. There's tarot is just one tool out of tons of tools for your manifestation. But it's one of my favorite tools. So let's talk a little bit real quick about how to get the most out of this challenge. And so the number one thing that you're going to want to do is clearly define one manifestation to work on throughout the challenge. This is going to help you get cohesive readings and a cohesive journey, right? Because if we look at these 10 spreads as 10 disjointed spreads that could be for 10 different things, it's not really going to give us the same sort of powerful results as if we just focus on one specific thing throughout the 10 days. And by the way, you can repeat this, right? For your next manifestation. Hi, Jay. Hi, Brandy. It's going to help you also focus for a powerful manifestation. If you're not focused on one thing, it's unlikely that you'll manifest anything. And that's just true with life, not just this 10-day challenge, but it's really important to have like a number one manifestation that you're working on and to use most of your energy to go to that. The more scattered our energy is, the less likely we'll be able to achieve that manifestation. Yeah, there's going to be a replay, Nona. You can watch it back. No worries. Hi, Karen. All right. So that's number one. Clearly define one manifestation to work on. Number two, bring a beginner's mindset. And this is for everyone. So if you're new, how can you meet yourself where you are? I know I've seen some people who are saying, "Oh, I'm just here watching. I'm a newbie. I'm just here watching. I'm a beginner." Or I just don't think this is very good. Or maybe they post their cards, but they haven't put their their interpretation on the cards. I invite you, if you're a beginner, to try. And the best way I can say it is that you won't learn how to read tarot without reading tarot. The best way is to do it. And I'm going to talk about some ways. So I'm going to break down the three spreads that we've already done. And I'm going to talk about some ways that you, especially for beginners, but for everybody, but some ways that you can approach your cards with the questions. And, there's a certain skill set that we get. And this is why I provide weekly spreads for the Tarot Practice Academy, is because it really up levels our tarot practice, because when we can start to take these cards and we can twist it into lots of different situations and questions and things like that, it builds new neural pathways when it comes for our readings. And so it really up levels your ability to read tarot very quickly. And so it's actually the best way to become better at reading tarot is to read with spreads, especially small spreads that don't feel too overwhelming. Okay, so if you're new, how can you open up to this beginner's mind, meet yourself where you are, know that this is a journey of learning, have fun during this journey of learning, allow yourself to be open and trying different things. In the High Priestess Tarot School, my very first lesson is on mindset, and it's all about perfectionism. Has anybody ever struggled with perfectionism? I'm probably not the only one. And the thing of it is perfectionism really gets in the way when it comes to intuition, because intuition is imperfect. We are imperfect. We are people with imperfectness, with imperfect intuition. And when we expect ourselves to be perfect, we end up frozen. So if you've ever been in a place where you're like, I just can't make progress, there's a good chance that you are not taking action because you're afraid that your action will not be perfect. And so perfectionism, I think, is the number one thing that gets in the way of for us when we start to learn tarot. Yeah, perfectly imperfect. Allow yourself to be imperfect. Allow it to be fun. Like it doesn't need to be anything serious, right? It can just be fun. How can you play with it? How can you have fun with it? And how can you let go of any sort of perfectionism? Because honestly, there is no wrong reading. There's no way to be wrong. So I guess they are always perfect. If that makes sense. I think a lot of times we think that it has to be a certain way, and it has to, like, if two people read the same cards, it's always going to be different, guys. And I think when we're first starting out, we think that there's a right way to read and a wrong way to read, and everybody else knows the right way, but we don't. But that's not true. Any two readers that you sit and they can't hear each other with the same cards, they're going to come away with different readings, because tarot is a window into our souls, and we all have different souls. So two readers are going to read things completely different. There's no wrong reading. So there's technically no way to not be perfect in your reading. All right. Okay. Done is better than perfect. Yes, James. Yeah, I think that's the confusing part to me. Yeah, it is, because we want to just have these nice, clean answers, don't we? We've been in a world that tells us everything has to be a certain way, and there's a black and a white, and you have to do things this way, and you have to be perfect. And we were kind of raised in that environment. And so we really do have to decide, I'm not going to participate in that, preferably with anything, but definitely not with tarot. Yep, two people get the same cards and the readings will be different. 100%, James. Okay, so we've kind of covered beginners, right? But we have a lot of people who've been in tarot for a long time here. So the way to have a beginner's mind when you're not a beginner is to know that there's always something to learn. And I think a lot of you who are here, you're really excited about that. You're in that space. I know for me, sometimes I can get that like, "Ah, I already know that. I already know that." I don't know if any of you guys do, but I've always been that way. So if that's you, sometimes I have to say, okay, how can I go more into the nuance? How can I have a more nuanced understanding? How can I go deeper instead of wider? How can I get like an aha from this thing that I'm doing, right? So how can you tune into and solidify takeaways every day, right? Okay, so number 1, clearly define one manifestation to work on. Number 2, bring a beginner's mindset. All right, number 3, ask for feedback when you're unsure. So, as much as I can, I'm going to try to provide feedback throughout this journey. So, if you ever have some doubts about your reading, even if you just want to ask, like, "Hey, Sunny, what do you think about number 3? I'm a little stumped on this one." Anything like that, ask for feedback when you're unsure. Allow yourself to be teachable and ask for help. This comes back to the perfectionism. The number one reason that we don't ask for help is because we're afraid people are going to know that we're not perfect, right? You don't have to be perfect. Ask for help, ask for feedback. And then if you aren't a newbie and you see somebody asking for feedback, give them your point of view. And by the way, if somebody gives a point of view, it doesn't mean that has to mean you're reading. That's just their interpretation of that, right? Like I said, two people are going to interpret the same thing very, very differently. And so just know that this is another and. Oh, it could be this too, right? When it comes to tarot, it could be a lot of things. And it's like this sort of brainstorming exercise to think of, like, how does this fit in and what could it be? So if you have some feedback for somebody who has asked for feedback, feel free to comment it um, on their post, and that's going to help just keep the conversation going. Also bring other perspectives. I can give my perspective, but I'm only one person. I'm only one reader, and not everybody reads like me, right? And I love the way that I read, and I think that there's a lot of value in it, but there's a lot of value in everybody's opinion. And so if somebody has asked for feedback, feel free to share your feedback on their post as well. As an and, not a like nope, you're wrong, it's this instead. But oh, it could be this. Yeah. Oh, and Cecilia said to the comment about two people getting the same cards, that's what I found is strange. At first, it makes you question which one is most accurate when trying to get guidance or advice. Well, and part of it too is, are you asking the same question to multiple readers? Because if you ask the same question to multiple people, you're going to get different advice, right? So you're going to get advice based on that reader's experience. So if you want to find a reader to get advice from, find somebody who has a life that you want, because they're going to give you good advice, regardless of what cards come up. Okay, next. Okay, now I'm going to be showing you guys the spreads. Let's talk about days 1, 2, and 3. It's actually been really great to be able to do some feedback so that I can kind of see, especially the people who are having more difficulty. So I can kind of see some of the snags that are happening. So actually, anybody who's asked for feedback, I want to say thank you, because it's really helped me get to know how to structure this training for you. And I do think that anybody will get value from this part. So even if you are a seasoned reader, feel free to stick around. Let me know that you can still hear me. And let's start to talk about these. I tried to make this brighter, and unfortunately, I was not able to get that done. Maybe I can try to shift this light. Let me try that real quick. How does it look on your screen? Can you guys see it okay? I think this might help a little bit. I hope it just doesn't get in my way. Does that look any better, guys? Loud and clear, good. It actually looks better on my phone than on my screen, so that's good, I think. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. And so what I've done is I've written these down. I don't know if you can see them, but I will be reading them to you. And if you guys can't see it, let me know, and I can take a screenshot of this or a picture of this and post it in the group. But I've kind of written down some 4 main tips that I have for you when it comes to reading with spreads. So number 1, what is the intention of the spread? So the first thing I want you guys to be doing is reading about the spread. These spreads in specific come with a story. They're written to take you on a journey. What is the intention of the spread? So what I want you to do is really understand the purpose of each spread before you get started. So we're going to be thinking about what is the intention of the spread, what is the purpose, and then we're going to pull the cards. How do the cards and energies apply to your manifestation? So in order to keep not only these cohesive, the spreads themselves, but to have the journey be cohesive, we're going to apply all of these energies to your manifestation. Okay, that way we're going to be really focused on your manifestation with each and every one of these spreads. And then number 3 is the card an answer to the question or a clue to the answer? I think that this is where a lot of people get kind of tripped up when it comes to reading with spreads, because sometimes it's not a clear answer. A lot of times even the card pulled isn't a clear answer to the question. And so one of the ways that I've helped Tarot Practice Academy members is to really think about, like, sometimes it's a clue to the answer, right? And then lastly, is my reading cohesive, and are the readings, the bunch of readings that I'm doing, are they cohesive? And I'll kind of talk about, number 1, applying them all to the manifestation is going to keep them cohesive. And I want people to be able to use this specific training for reading with spreads in general. So if you're just reading spreads in general and not just this challenge, you just need to change this to the topic, right? How do the cards and energies apply to your topic, to your context? So if I'm going to do a love reading, how do the cards and energy apply to love, right? So manifestation for this challenge, but your topic for, any types of spreads. Okay. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to just kind of talk you through these. I'm also going to do each of these readings so that you guys can have a bit of a demo. And what I'd like for you guys to do is throw out a manifestation for me to use for the context of these readings. So go ahead and drop some suggestions in the chat for some manifestations. Oh, Cecilia said, sometimes asking for feedback is interesting, but also intimidating because you feel like the cards should have an overall similar message, and how some pick up so many different angles to the same set of cards makes you feel a bit discouraged at times. Yeah, and I think that comes from perfectionism, right, Cecilia? And also from thinking, oh, mine must have been wrong if that was right. But instead of thinking of it that way, Cecilia, when we think of it as yes and, mine was right and theirs is right, that's like an additional, it could be both, or, oh, I like that, and that does resonate more, so that's just another meaning, and I really like that. So instead of feeling worried about not being good enough, think about the learning opportunity that you can get when you have more ideas instead of less. I hope that it totally made sense, Cecilia. Thank you for sharing that. Randy, when it comes to limiting beliefs, Maria, instead of manifesting removing limiting beliefs, you want to manifest how you want to feel instead. What do you want to believe instead? We must, because otherwise we're manifesting limiting beliefs, right? We must word and think about our manifestation in the terms of what we want, not what we don't want. Finding a dream home, I love it. Looking to make a huge move. Mm-hmm. Love. Mm-hmm. Do you know what that might look like for you, Maria? Because I love personal growth spreads. Anybody working on wanting to be a tarot reader someday? Or maybe even working on being a tarot reader? Looking for a home too. Yeah, it's really expensive, isn't it? Buying a home is a lot right now. Yeah, I love that, Maria. Let's do it. Better at communication. So we're going to, for this demonstration, we're going to do healthy, comfortable communicator, right? So I want to manifest into a healthy, comfortable communicator. Communicator. Please don't mind my handwriting. It's pretty terrible. Okay, so number one, what is the intention of the spread? So this is Gateway of Dreams. This is our first day one spread. And first I want us to have a really good idea as to what the purpose is. What is the intention of this spread? Gateway to Dreams. As you approach the grand gates of the enchanted castle, the air shimmers with magic. This castle holds the power to crystallize your dreams into reality. Today, as you cross its threshold, focus on setting powerful intentions, right? This is the number one thing we're doing. Crafting the keys to unlock the castle's treasures. So powerful intention is the perfect purpose, right? Day one, it's all about setting that intention for our manifestation. Brandy, I've been working on becoming a certified tarot reader. Yes. Okay, what is the grand vision that I am stepping into? So now I'm going to pull a card. And I've had a couple questions about shuffling and sort of things like that. There's no wrong way to shuffle. There's no wrong way to draw. I like to shuffle, and then I cut my deck and I draw number one. I ask the question, what is the grand vision that I'm stepping into? Number two, which doorways are now opening? So I do a little shuffle, and then I pull. There's no wrong way to do this. This is just how I do it. What can I leave behind as I enter the castle of possibilities? Asking the third question, pulling the third card. What is the strongest foundation I can build my intentions upon? Okay, pulling the last card. There's no wrong way to do that. Trust your intuition and try different ways until you find something that really feels good for you. My mentor actually told me to lay all the cards out and then using my left hand ask the question and then feel for a zing and then pull out that card. I tried it. It didn't feel natural for me. So I just, I went with what feels good for me. Okay, so let's get started. So the first thing I like to do is kind of look around. So we've got a court card. We've got some major arcana. It feels like a pretty big reading, actually, with these sort of big cards here. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of spread them out. I like to look at them question by question. And so focusing on question number one, we've got the Five of Swords. What is the grand vision that I'm stepping into? You can see on my card, I've got tyranny, right? Tyranny is my keyword. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I've got a little washi tape on here with the keyword tyranny. I think you guys should be able to see it there. And so I like to use keywords, and I teach in the High Priestess Tarot School how to label your deck, some different keywords for each of the cards, and I teach how to build a study deck with keywords to help you with your interpretations. So we are looking to be healthy, comfortable communicators, right? Healthy, comfortable communicators. That's our goal. That's our manifestation. What is the grand vision that I'm stepping into? How could tyranny have anything to do with healthy, comfortable communicator? You guys can feel free to put anything in the chat that you think it could be. Right away, one of the things that I think of is self-bullying. Part of the reason why I may not be a healthy, comfortable communicator could be because I was bullied as a kid when I was young, trying to communicate. Partly because I might be bullying myself with those same words now. So to me, the Five of Swords can sometimes be about bullying self. It can be having that he's even like screaming at him. See the little crow is like screaming at him. So to me, I would say the grand vision I'm stepping into is letting go of the past, possibly, right? So letting go of the past, letting go of the self-bullying that's holding me back from being a healthy, comfortable communicator, right? Yeah, I can relate to that. Yeah. I feel like for me, when I was really working on my communication skills, this was definitely something I needed to work through. Okay, so what is the grand vision I'm stepping into? Letting go of past self-bullying, letting go of being afraid about what people are going to say, letting other people's reactions of me having power over me, letting how I perceive people are going to interact with me have power over me, right? I think a lot of those could really be wrapped up in this card. And notice how we're looking at the manifestation, we're looking at the question, and we're looking at the card, all three, right? And we're asking, is the card an answer to the question or a clue to the question? So this Five of Swords, it doesn't really answer, right? What is the grand vision that I'm stepping into? It's not self-bullying, but it's a clue, right? I'm stepping in, the grand vision that I'm stepping into is not having this voice in my head when I'm trying to communicate, right? So this is a clue to what I'm stepping into, right? And then lastly, okay, the last is the cohesion. So that's fine. Okay, so it pertains to the manifestation and it is a clue to the answer. So number 2, which doorways are now opening for me? And we've got creation. Look at this. So my keyword for the Empress is creation. So which doorways are now opening for me? It's all about creating. So creating this healthy, comfortable communicator within myself, right? Maybe the things that I'm going to create when I become this healthy, comfortable communicator, right? What am I going to be able to create from that place? How am I going to feel about myself from that place? This 100% is how I'm going to feel. And instead of having all of my energy going towards this, I'm going to be able to create. I'm going to be able to transfer that energy that I'm using on this, and I'm going to create something new with it. Whether it's a business or a new hobby or happiness for myself or gentleness for myself, right? Lots of really cool things that you could create letting go of, this voice inside the head. And then number 3, what can I leave behind as I enter the castle of new possibilities? And we've got the King of Wands. And he's reversed too, for those of you who are very specific with reversals. By the way, his keyword is inspiring. So, what can I leave behind as I enter the castle of new opportunities? When I think about leaving behind, obviously I want to be in the King of Wands energy. So I always think of a question like this is, what's keeping me from this? What do I need to leave behind in order to feel inspiring, to feel inspired, to be chasing my dreams, to be creating, like he is a creator. The wands are all about creation. And so what can I leave behind? So this is creation right here. What can I leave behind? Anything that keeps us away from that. So I'm not going to write anything that keeps me away from feeling inspiring. I'm going to write what keeps me from that. So in this example, if I'm doing this reading for myself, I'm like, what keeps me from that? Maybe it's these beliefs again. Maybe it's the things that are inside my head. Maybe I'm going to be really specific about it. Like, I leave behind not good enough. Maybe it's even something more specific, like they're going to judge me. Leave behind, they're going to judge me, because those are the things that are getting in my way. And the deeper you guys can go, they're going to judge me, the better your reading's going to be. Because I could say, oh, I'm going to leave behind anything that's not inspiring, that makes me not feel inspired. But if I don't go deeper than that, if I don't say, okay, what are those things? How am I going to actually leave them behind? So the more in depth you can do, the more you can find these places where you can go into depth. This one too, like, what are those thoughts exactly? What are those thoughts exactly that you're having? Can really help you go deeper into your spreads and help you get even more out of them. Okay, and then the last one, what is the strongest foundation I can build? I know you guys can't read it. What is the strongest foundation I can build my intentions upon? And we've got the World, which my keyword, by the way, is completion. So it's all about entering a new era. It's all about entering this new world. It's about opening up to new changes. When I think of a healthy, comfortable communicator, I think of this, right? And what I love about this specifically and the cards that we pulled for this is I see it, I know that I create these in a circle on purpose, but I see the full circle here of the Five of Swords being where we started, and this is where we want to go, right? So how lovely of a reading is that? So we've tied it all in to the manifestation. We know the intention of the spread. We've really broken down all of them. Now, the purpose of it is to set a powerful intention. So based off of the spread, what might my powerful intention be? My powerful intention is to become a healthy, comfortable communicator. And one of the ways that I'm going to do that right away is I'm going to look at these negative thoughts that are keeping me from being able to communicate healthily with people. I'm going to let go of all of these thoughts that are getting in my way, right? So now we have a purpose and we have some action steps that we can take with this one spread. How did that go, guys? Did that make sense? Thoughts on spread number 1? Do you want to see me break down spread number 2 and 3 as well? I think somebody asked it about, is it okay to manifest, is it wrong to try and manifest a certain person? I don't think it's very effective, Angela, and the reason for that is free will. So instead of trying to attract a certain person, think about the traits that you like about that person and attract somebody with similar traits. And if that person's meant for you and you are manifesting those traits, then maybe they will come to you. But they have free will, and we can't manifest somebody that doesn't want us. And what's great about that is nobody that we don't want can manifest us either, right? So we have that autonomy, that energetic autonomy, just like other people do. Maria, love this reading. Gives me a better understanding. Makes sense to me. That was great. I think you guys are saying yes to the next one. All right. So now you can kind of see how you just kind of make it work. You're kind of twisting things and exploring things and saying, how is this keyword that I have on my card related to my manifestation and related to the question? There's no wrong answer, like I said, to anything. And whenever possible, please go deeper. It's so easy to just say, like, oh, I got to let go of the things that are keeping me from being inspiring and never go deeper than that. And then how much help is that going to be, really? Okay, next up is igniting passions. So, number 1, what is the intention of this spread? So let's read about it. Deep within the castle's ancient dungeon. So we just got to the castle. Now we're moving in to deep in the ancient dungeon. Deep within the castle's ancient dungeon breathes a mighty dragon, guardian of the fire and transformation. Its flames do not burn, but invigorate, awakening the dormant passions within you. Today, harness its fiery energy to ignite your truest desires. So we're connecting with our passions, and we're awakening our desires, right? Passions and desires. So at the end of this, we want to make sure that we have fulfilled the purpose of understanding our passions and desires through the spread. Yeah, Carrie, everything's a positive, isn't it? Everything, even the negative, has a positive invitation. All right, so let's do it. Number 1, what passion within me is waiting to awaken? So we're still doing this person. Let's write this on here too. Healthy, comfortable communicator. Because we have to have that manifestation to kind of tie everything back to. All right. Okay, Andrea. Okay, what passion within me is waiting to be awakened? We've got the 6 of Swords. How can the dragon's fire help burn away any doubts or fears? We have the Chariot. What transformative power does my passion hold? Temperance. All of these are upside down too. We've got all reversals. In what area of my life can I focus on this ignited energy? Okay. So let's get started. I am noticing actually 3 major arcana cards, lots of major arcanas again, which is unusual, but awesome. Okay, so let's start with number 1, which is the 6 of Swords. What passion within me is waiting to be awakened? And so we are a person who wants to manifest healthy, comfortable communication, right? What passion within me is waiting to be awakened? So for me, I would think that, by the way, my keyword for this is escape. I would think that I want to escape from feeling like I can't communicate, feeling like maybe I'm trapped. In the last one, we had all of those crows like at the head, so it's almost like those words that keep coming, and so escaping from feeling the feelings that we feel when we hear those words, right? Does that make sense, guys? Escaping from the self-doubt that we've been feeling around communication, the possible anxiety or worry that can come from communicating and worrying about what other people are going to be thinking or what other people are going to be saying when we communicate. And that's kind of how I would read that in the context of the question, what passion within me is waiting to awaken? Like, it's almost that sort of part of me that knows how amazing I am and that knows that the things that I want to communicate are worthy of communicating. Number 2, how can the dragon's fire help burn away any doubts or fears? And we've got the Chariot. By the way, my keyword for the Chariot is drive. So how can the dragon's fire burn away any doubts or fears? To me, this feels like doing it. This feels like communicating anyway. This feels like communicating imperfectly. This feels like communicating scared. Allowing myself to push myself to communicate in the best way that I can right now as I develop the skills to become a healthy, comfortable communicator. Because you know what? The thing of it is a lot of times, all of those thoughts that we talked about in the last spread, they get in the way of taking action and actually communicating. Kind of like the perfectionism that we talked about earlier, it holds us back from even doing the thing. So how can the dragon's fire help burn away any doubts or fears? It's just doing it, right? We won't be able to start moving past that frozen feeling, the fearful feeling that we're in without doing it. Like we just have to do it, right? And we can start small. It doesn't have to be like we have to do it all the way, but we do have to take those steps, right? Okay, and then next, what transformative power does my passion hold? So then we've got the temperance. And I love this for this spot because we've got this sort of balance, this energetic balance. So when we have escaped from these limiting beliefs, these self-doubts, and we've started putting communication into place instead of probably not communicating at all because we were too worried about it, then we're able to find this balance within ourselves where we can communicate and learn more communication and notice that other people's opinion of us doesn't matter, and notice that what we have to say is important. Oh, by the way, my keyword for this one's equilibrium. So finding that middle ground of, like being stuck from being able to communicate to starting to be able to learn those communication skills that likely we don't have, like if we're wanting to be a healthy, comfortable communicator, there's likely some things in our past that made it hard for us to communicate. And so we have to learn it all over again. And possibly we've maybe never even been a healthy, comfortable communicator. When I was working on this, which this has been something that I've manifested, when I was working on this, I was deathly afraid of communication. Even just regular communication. Like it was It was so bad, and especially mass communication, like something like a live like this. It was like I would definitely be frozen. And it took just doing it and realizing that the veil, the block that I thought was this huge brick wall, was really just a veil. And the more I did it, the easier it became. And I got to learn the skills, right? That I never had before because I was taught that I was supposed to be quiet and that I couldn't stand out, right? Like I would literally get punished for it by my mom when I was a kid. And so allowing yourself to possibly even learn it for the first time. Okay, in what area of my life can I focus this ignited energy? So here you can see the progression of like, okay, I'm leaving behind this way of thinking. I'm putting action steps into communicating, and I'm starting to find this balance and this equilibrium. And then what, right? So I've done these things. Now, where am I going to push that energy? In what area of my life can I focus this ignited energy? So this is going to ignite the energy that's going to bring us to here. And I love that we got justice because this is about consequences. That's my keyword. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's consequences. And so this is when we start to see results, right? We don't see results without the action and this sort of balance and the learning. So now we're starting to see results. Likely, somebody who wants to be a healthy, comfortable communicator wants that for a reason. It's another manifestation, right? They want to manifest something else, and they see this as the next thing to manifest. So they're trying to manifest this to get to somewhere else. So this means that they're going to start seeing those results that they're wanting from being a healthy, comfortable communicator. Make sense? And it could be the creations from this one, right? When we let go of the past bullying, which is funny because that's pretty similar to this one up here, right? When we let go of the past bullying, then we could step into creation. And so maybe this consequence here is that creation starting. And that's how you can start to tie in number 1 and number 2 as well. You could actually take a look at them and say, okay, so I kind of got clear on all of these. What is the strongest foundation? What was the number 4 card that we got last time, guys? I don't think I wrote it in. But anyway, go ahead and go back to your previous one and look at it. And you can do that throughout this whole challenge. And you can look at some of the crossovers. You can look at, this came up, like letting go of self-bullying came up. And something very, very similar came up here with this one. So it's just like another way that the tarot is telling me that I've got to leave behind these thoughts. Not good enough. They're going to judge me, right? Yep, this is the cohesion I'm talking about. So we have cohesion within one spread, and within this challenge, because these are designed to be cohesive with each other, we also have the cohesion within multiple spreads. And what you can do is just kind of look and see. Let me take a few little notes real quick so that when I want to look back at it again, they're there. So we have escape, the thoughts and beliefs. And we've already gone deeper, within number 1 on what those thoughts and beliefs are, right? And then we're going to take action here by starting the communication, even if it's just a little bit at a time. Start communicating imperfectly. And then we're going to start to feel ourselves come into balance energetically. And then we're going to start to see consequences. And by consequences, I mean like karma, like cause and effect. Consequences of our actions of these, right? All right. You guys want me to do number 3 too? Oh, 4 was the world. Thank you, Maria. Making sense, guys? Any ahas from these first 2 demos? I'm so sorry about my handwriting. That was really bad. Any ahas from these first two? Then I'll do a demo for the third one as well. Jay. Oh, I didn't understand they were supposed to be cohesive to each other. So my day 2 doesn't really line up with my day 1. No worries, Tina. You can always look at them again and see how they tie in, because they do, right? Because you are the same person with the same manifestation with these 2 readings. So they do tie in. You just haven't tied them in together yet, right? So just take a look at them and see how they tie in. Maria, my eyes were opened. Okay, number 3. What is our purpose? That's the first question, right? What is the intention of the spread? So let's read. So first we went to the castle and we learned what our dream was. Next, we figured out a little bit more about our passion. By the way, we didn't really tie that back at the end, so let's do that really quick. Our passion and desire is to become a healthy, comfortable communicator. And to do this, we're going to take action and we're going to see ourselves come into balance and get good consequences from it, right? So we just kind of look at that at the end and like make sure that we have fulfilled our purpose. My passion and desire is to come into balance so that I can see different results. And when we know that, we can connect with that. Connecting with our passions is a huge part of manifestation. All right. So what's the purpose of number 3? Purity of pursuit. What does that even mean? In the castle's expansive grounds, a mythical unicorn awaits, ready to lead you along a path of purity and truth. Follow this noble creature through the verdant forest, discovering how aligning your actions with your soul's purpose can clear the way forward. So this is all about aligning your actions with your soul's purpose. So we've got alignment with values and here's the thing, guys. We are much more likely to manifest something if we have been able to tie it to our purpose. If we've been able to tie it to our ability to help the world and to help others, to impact not only ourselves, but others in the world, is also pretty cool too. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. What does the unicorn urge me? Where does the unicorn urge me to venture next? What obstacle can the unicorn help me overcome with grace? How can I keep my journey aligned with truth and integrity? And then lastly, what insight does the unicorn offer about my spiritual growth? We got 1 major arcana and 2 court cards. Big cards here. This is pretty amazing. Three in a row with some big cards. And even the 10 of Cups is a big card, right? All right, let's do it. So, number 1, where does the unicorn urge me to venture next? Don't forget, our manifester is to become a healthy, comfortable communicator. Where does the unicorn urge me to venture next? Number 1, we've got inspiration. This, again, my keyword is inspiring, the King of Wands. Inspiration. So this could be becoming a person who inspires others. This could be finding somebody that we look up to that is really inspiring, right? Because the unicorn is urging me to venture. So it could be finding somebody like this. It could be studying with somebody like this. It could be allowing somebody like this to give us advice. It could be allowing them to inspire us, or it could be stepping into this role ourselves. Right? The King of Wands is leading and inspiring people. And so if you if this person wants to be a healthy, comfortable communicator, to be a business owner, for example, this could definitely be somebody that they're trying to step into themselves, because I think of two cards that are like CEOs of the deck. We've got the King of Wands and the King of Pentacles. The King of Wands is more of a motivational speaker sort of CEO, whereas the King of Pentacles is more like a businessy guy. Anyway, so this one, it could be venturing to be more like the King of Wands or to meet up with the King of Wands. So I'm just going to put inspiring others, like stepping into inspiring others. And I might even, before I go any further, I might even come back to, did we get it in the very last one? We have gotten the King of Wands already, right? Was it in the last one? In the first one, maybe? Maybe not. Anyway, let's go on to number 2. If you do have the same card, you can always go back and look at it again and say, where did I get that card before? And go to your previous one and say, oh, it was for this question. I thought so too, Maria. Do you remember? Was it for question number 3 in the first one? I don't remember. I thought we did too. So go back and look. If you get the same card again in another spread, go back and look and read it and see, like, okay, how can I tie these two questions together too? What insights can I gain from that as well? Okay, what obstacle can the unicorn help me overcome with grace? And so we got this 10 of Cups, right? Which is fulfillment. Right here, fulfillment. Okay, so number 2, fulfillment. What obstacles can the unicorn help me overcome with grace? When you think about somebody who wants to become a healthy, comfortable communicator, there's a good chance that they are not feeling connected to the people around them because they haven't been able to communicate their wants and their needs, right? They may have a harder time just connecting with people in general. So the obstacle the unicorn can help them overcome is connection, fulfillment, like that sort of emotional fulfillment that they get with connection. And so like an obstacle could be, you could actually ask yourself, what's keeping me from this? Likely it's the having a problem with the communication, right? So the obstacle could be unhealthy communication or hesitant communication. And what obstacle can the unicorn help me overcome? To me, also feels like, okay, when I overcome it, what am I going to get? I'm going to get this fulfillment. I'm going to get this connection and this sense of fulfillment. So to get connection and fulfillment. Make sense? Next, we've got, how can I keep my journey aligned with truth and integrity? And we got the Lovers. And so the Lovers is all about commitment. Commitment is my keyword for the Lovers. And so here for number 3, how can I keep my journey aligned with truth and integrity? Stay committed to it. And I would even say, what does staying committed to this journey that's aligned with truth and integrity, what would that look like? And I would go back to these other ones and say, like taking action, right? Remember taking action here in number 2, letting go of these thoughts and beliefs. In order to be committed to this, we have to continue doing it. We have to be committed to, when we notice these beliefs coming up, letting them go and taking the action anyway, right? So staying committed. How can I keep my journey aligned with truth and integrity? Then lastly, what insight does the unicorn offer about my spiritual growth? Oh, what a good one. Okay, we have the Knight of Wands, which is brave. And honestly, this journey is a journey for you. It requires bravery. And I can tell you that from experience because it's not easy. It's not easy to communicate when you're worried about what somebody's going to think or what they're going to say. It's not easy to feel the fear and do it anyway. But this is the embodiment. This Knight of Wands is the embodiment of feel the fear and do it anyway, right? So the insight the unicorn offers is feel the fear and do it anyway. And so are you guys seeing how they're all connected? Because they're all connected with this. All of these spreads are connected with this manifestation. And we've got cohesive readings that are connected to the manifestation. And we have a purpose for each of the readings too. So alignment with values and purpose, to align with our values and purpose when we are working on becoming a healthy, comfortable communicator. It's all about becoming, inspiring ourselves. It's all about feeling the fear and doing it anyway. It's all about getting connected to other people and staying committed to this journey. Make sense? Okay, what do you guys think? Makes sense in terms of, first off, how to read your cards, especially for those who are beginners. I know you guys can't see me now because I've got my light over there. Should have moved that first. Okay, makes sense. Feel cohesive. Feel, for anybody who is feeling a little doubtful that they could do it, does it feel a little easier now? Oh, that's amazing, Stacy. It feels much better. Yeah. All right. Let me see if I have anything else on the slideshow. Okay, so after this, it's just the Q&A, guys. Let me put my, I guess I shouldn't put my cards away just in case I need them for the Q&As. I'm excited to go into the next one. Yes. Awesome. Awesome. You guys are doing great. And I can't wait to see more readings from you guys. Go ahead and drop any questions that you might have in the chat. And we'll start with the live questions first, and then I'll move on to the questions that were pre-submitted. So feel free. Now is the Q&A section of this live. And go ahead and drop any questions that you have. I love that, Stacy. Morning Dove with the Lovers. Yes. You're so welcome, Maida. And for those of you who are asking about the replay, you'll be able to find the replay of this in the group until the group closes, and then it'll go in the High Priestess Tarot School. No worries, Brandy. I'm so happy you could be here. All right. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we're going to tackle the first question. If you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the chat, and I will come back to the chat in just a minute. Okay. Number question, how important is it to lay out of the cards? How important is the layout of the cards? Can I just choose 4 after shuffling? Can they be from anywhere in the deck, or does it need to be the first 4 after shuffling? So I'd say that most readers are pretty cohesive when it comes to their shuffling, dealing, how they choose, at least after they've established that for themselves. So I kind of addressed this a little bit in the demonstration portion. Let me write down the times for these as well. Okay, so this is 1 hour, 24 minutes. And this is the layout of cards. That way I don't have to tag it right now. Okay, so kind of like I described before, there's going to be a lot of schools of thought. So my mentor, number one, she said, do not like throw your cards together and wait for them to fly out. She said, don't do that. And she's an intuitive coach too. She's an intuition teacher. And I see intuition being more at play with some other styles of choosing. But there's, like I said, I was taught, I'm gonna solo layout here. I was taught by my teacher to do my shuffle and then to spread them out. And by the way, there's no wrong way to shuffle either. To spread them out, ask my question, and feel for a zinging, and then pull the card when I feel the zinging, right? So pull that card, and then ask question number 2, and then pull the next card. That never felt right for me. So kind of like I demonstrated earlier, I do my shuffle, and I like to just cut. So card number 1, I cut the deck, I pull a card. Card number 2, I might do a shuffle in between, I might not, I might just do a cut. And then I pull a card. This has always felt great for me. And so this is how I pull my cards for a reading. For example, that's a 4-card reading. If I'm doing something without any spread at all, I usually just do a 6-card layout like this. And I just pull one at a time. I cut, I pull, I cut, I pull. But there's plenty of people that just shuffle, right? There's lots and lots of readers out there that will do their shuffle and they will pull the first 6 cards. And these are the cards. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with any of the ways. And what I suggest you do is, if you don't know like what way resonates with you or feels best for you, just try them out. Try out the way you see other people doing it. See how it feels for you. And then you kind of have your way, right? So they can be from anywhere in the deck. They can be the first 4. It's totally up to you. Try different things until you find what works well for you and what feels good for you. Okay, do we have any other questions? Nope, let's move on to the next one. Oh, Stacy says I shuffle, cut, pull for each card. Okay, so this question is, oh, Jamie, I shuffle till one flies out. Yep, lots of people do that. I shuffle until it feels right. If cards fly out, they definitely want to be read. I sometimes use flyers. It depends. Like if I have 4 or even 3 drop out, I probably put them back. But if I have 1 come out, I usually set it aside and still read it. Oh, you're welcome, Brandy. You're welcome. Okay. Oh, I'm still showing my hand, huh? That's not necessary. Okay. So, are we supposed to use the same item to manifest for each day, or do we change our intent to something else? I think we really covered this in the demo part. So if I've tagged you and you haven't watched the demo part, go back to that, because I really do kind of cover the steps to go through for your readings. However, yes, you want to use the same manifestation for your context for each readings. That's going to help it be really cohesive, and it's also going to help you manifest that thing better than like switching it up into different manifestations. So yes, you're going to figure out the purpose of the reading and be considering the purpose, considering the manifestation, and considering each card with each question. If you weren't doing like a challenge like this, it's really like if you pull out if you're not doing a challenge like this and you just pull out a spread, I would just say like, what is the purpose of the spread? and what do I want to apply it to? So you have the context and you have the purpose. It's maybe not going to be a manifestation, maybe it will be. But that way you still have with each and every spread that you do a reading with, you know the purpose of the spread and you know what context you want to read it for. Okay, next. Okay, so when is the best time to ask for a clarification card? This is a really good question. I personally have felt like the more I read for people, the more practice I get, and the more I build my relationship with each of my cards, I have less of a need for clarification cards, but I did pull this up, for you guys. Feel free to screenshot it if you'd like. Here are some reasons that are good to pull a clarification card. So number 1, if you have an unclear message, if the initial card's meaning doesn't make sense, maybe you can't get it to fit, your clarification card can be more information, or it can even replace that card completely. Like, if you feel really stuck and you're like, I don't freaking know, you can replace it with a new card. You can get a clarification card to expand on the meaning. Either one is perfectly fine when it comes to clarification cards. If anybody wants to know what a clarification card is, it's when you pull an additional card to give you more information or more clarification about what the original card meant. Okay. 2, conflicting cards. When there are conflicting messages within the spread, you need more information to understand the dynamics. You might want to pull a card. I personally like to just flip one. I use a reversal for one. I'm really fluid with my reversals because, and I explain this a lot, but for example, an 8 of swords is all about feeling trapped and stuck and maybe overwhelmed, right? It can be that like freeze during overwhelm. We might be experiencing that freeze during overwhelm, which would be the upright meaning. But um, the thing of it is the invitation in that card is to get unstuck and to maybe write a list or to, do something that gets you out of that unstuck feeling. So both are true, right? Both the reverse and the upright are true at the same time. So I'm pretty fluid when it comes to my reading about switching and flopping between the reversed and the upright, and they're both true at the same time, so we can talk about both. You can talk about both the reversed and the upright, as an invitation. Does that make sense? Um, oh, James, yeah, you could use a second deck. That would be perfectly fine. There's really no rules in tarot, so you could use an oracle deck. You could absolutely. Complex situations when dealing with a complex issue that requires more nuanced understanding of details. Like maybe you're like, what? I'd like some more details. I'm like, sometimes I get like this aha in a reading, right? So like I get this thing and I'm like, I want more information on that. And it's not necessarily a clarifying card, but it's like more cards around this thing. So I'm like, oh, let's get more information. And I might drop 3 cards. I might be like, oh, maybe we're kind of at this point in the reading where I'm like, what are some action steps you can take? Let's pull some cards on action steps, and I'll do a little shuffle and I'll pull 3 cards and they're all representing action steps, right? And so you can always add on to your reading if you'd like. Just be really clear in your intention when you do it. So complex situations, court cards. Sometimes people have difficulty with court cards. Maybe you need more information about the person. So maybe you get a court card and you're like, okay, this is representing a person. What else do I need to know about the relationship with this person? Or what else do I need to know about this dynamic? Or so on and so forth. So you can pull 1 or more cards around, just getting more information on the personality, the dynamic, the person. Outcome cards, when the outcome card is particularly ambiguous and needs more context. So if you like pull an outcome card and you're like, huh, what does that mean? You can just pull another one. And like I said with the first one, you can let it be a replacement. It can be an and, or it can replace the original card. Major arcana cards. When a major arcana card pulls, you may want to delve deeper into its significant influence on the reading. So you might want to go deeper with that major arcana card. So you can add some additional cards in. If the client asks for more information, a lot of times when I'm doing readings, I might say, "Is there anything here?" Like, especially when I have like 6 cards in front of me, we've finished the 6 cards, I've talked about all of them, we've had that discussion, we've had that back and forth. A lot of times I'll say, "Is there anything here that you wanna dive deeper into?" And if they do, a lot of times, I'll just pull a couple more cards. Sometimes if I feel like it's a really big request, I'll pull them all up, I'll shuffle them, and I'll pull a whole new 6 card spread. Um, so it just kind of depends on my intuition, my feeling at the time. But a lot of times, if they say, "Yeah, I'd actually like to go a little deeper into this. Can we talk about this a little bit more?" Then I'll pull a few cards for it, and those will be on the table, and we'll talk about those. Intuitive prompting, when your intuition suggests that more information is needed, or when you feel an inner nudge to pull an additional card. So I've really written this to be for not just clarification cards, but like anytime like you're in a reading and you want more information, or you want to go deeper, or you want more clarification, it's always fine to pull more cards. By the way, when you're learning, less cards is a lot of times better than more cards. I just want to throw that out there because I think one of the worst things we can do when we're learning is to overwhelm ourselves because it feels really defeating. So sometimes more cards are not better. Okay, Carrie has a question. Any other questions on this before I move on to the next slide? But while we wait for that, let's talk about Carrie's question. If you're shuffling an upright deck, how can they be reversed, or does the reader randomly turn the cards before reading? Okay, so most of the time, I'm going to show my desk again. So most of the time, people do shuffle in. Most of the time, people do shuffle in reversal. So let's say you have a deck and they're all upright. So you have made 100% sure that all of your cards are upright. And I'm not going to do this with the whole deck, but I'm just going to show you what it's like, because this was kind of a question that I had when I was learning too. Okay, so this is an all upright deck, right? If you shuffle this correctly, you will never have any upright cards or any reversal cards. So, for example, this is one way that you can do it. See, tops are with tops. I'm shuffling, tops are with tops. This is actually what inspired me to shuffle in this way, because Raleigh Valentine was showing this in an oracle card trading that I did. So tops to tops with our shuffle means that we will never have any reversals, right? Always upright. However, there's a lot of people that shuffle like this. See how that top? Actually, I think this will still be okay. I think this still won't reverse. So I think in order to get reversals, let's check. I think that's going to be fine still. Yep. In order to get reversals, we have to take and flip and do tops with bottoms. So now that we're shuffling the tops with the bottoms together, we should have reversals. So I don't care so much about reversals. Like I said, I kind of read both at the same time, and I think about both as I'm doing readings. And I'm kind of fluid with all of that. I let my intuition and the context really lead with that. Although I do notice reversals, it's not like I'm completely oblivious to them. And I just don't care. Honestly, I could probably, because of the way I shuffle, I could probably keep them all upright if I wanted to. But it just doesn't really matter to me that much. So yeah, once you flip them in your shuffling, one of the sides, you will have reversals. So depending on if you want reversals or not, you can make that happen. So Raleigh Valentine in that training that I was talking about, Raleigh Valentine was talking about how he doesn't read with reversals. So he shuffles them. He puts his cards upright all together in his deck, and he shuffles up with them in a certain way so that he never gets reversals. And so he says when reversals do come up, because he's so conscious of them, he does really pay attention to them because it's taken a lot to get there because he's been very conscious about his shuffling. He's been very conscious about having them all upright. Um, and so I thought that was really cool when he explained that too. Oh, yeah, Emma, there will be a replay. No worries. I get reversals when my cards fall out when I shuffle. Yeah. The deck that I just got told me to put all the cards out, swirl them, and mix them up. Yeah, absolutely. If you really want, reversals, you can do it like I showed, and you can just keep twisting them. Shuffle, twist, shuffle, twist, shuffle. Or you can just put them all down, mess them up on the table for a while, and then pick them all up, and, they're reversed and shuffled. Absolutely. Any other questions here live before I go to the next one? That's what you did with yours, Emma? Yeah. Okay. So, the next question was, when should you ask for a signifying card? Now, I don't know if the person who asked this actually meant to ask this question here for clarification card, but there's nothing called a signifying card, but there is something called a significator card. Significator card. So if you've heard of this, we'll go ahead and talk about it a little bit. I've never worked with them, so I can't speak from a lot of experience with significator cards. I have heard of them. I have seen people working with them, like, on videos and stuff like that, but I have not used them myself. I think when it comes to things like intuitive practices, you know what works well for you, you know what feels good for you. You're gonna feel called to do certain things, you're gonna feel called to try certain things. I 100% think if you're feeling like trying something, try it. Try it until you decide whether you like it or not. If you don't feel called to something, maybe try it. I don't because I feel really comfortable with what I do and where I'm at, and so I don't feel like I need to try something that doesn't necessarily interest me. But if something is feeling like it's calling to you, if you've heard somebody talking about it and you think, "Oh, that's interesting," try it. Try it, try it, try it. Hi, Virginia. Hi, Stephanie. So there will be a replay, guys, if you wanna watch it back. I know you're, jumping in a little bit late, but we are in the Q&A, so if you have any questions, drop them in the chat. Okay, so here's what a significator card is. A significator card is a card chosen prior to your reading. So this is something that before you do your reading, you're gonna pick and put on the table. And it represents either your querent or their main focus, right? So you're going to pick a specific card. This usually isn't random. These are usually chosen very deliberately from your deck to signify your querent or the main focus. So one way that you can do that is to choose a court card. So you can look through all your court cards and you can ask, okay, which one reminds me of my querent? Sometimes it's going to be personality traits. Sometimes it's going to be age. So for example, an older querent might get a queen or a king, whereas a younger querent might get a page or a knight. It could be based off of their astrological sign. So for example, they're a Cancer, so you pick one of the cups. So maybe they're a Cancer and they're in their 50s. So you're going to pick a Queen of Cups or a King of Cups, right? It can be depicted like them. So maybe they have the same hair color. Maybe they have some of the same physical features. So you're like, okay, this one reminds me of my querent. So you're going to pull them out. You might even pick a major arcana card instead of a court card. And that can signify their current life stage. And so I gave a couple examples here. So the Fool can represent somebody starting a new journey. So if you know your querent is like, I'm starting this new journey and I don't know if I should take this step, a good significator card could be the Fool. If they tell you that they're going to start a new creation and they want some advice around that, then maybe the Empress would be good. So it's a card that you're going to take. A lot of times you place it in the center of the table and you surround all the cards you pull around it. Or maybe you're going to place it off to one of the sides and you're going to pull the other cards that give more information. So for example, you've chosen the Fool, you've put it down, and then you draw out all of these cards. Like maybe you surround the Fool with 4 or 5 more cards. And then those are all going to be the reading around this new beginning. So then you're kind of reading them. So I feel like if you're using a significator card, you're probably not using a spread. Unless the spread is specifically designed for a significator card. Oh, Brandy, I've never heard of this. Carrie says I've used them. Yeah, in very large spreads around it, but it takes ages, so I don't very often. Yeah, I might use it for a yearly spread. Yeah. Okay, so some of their benefits is it can add some personalization. It can have a personal touch. Like maybe you really resonate with this, and this could be a part of what you offer to clients because it's kind of special to have a card picked that represents you and then to have a bunch of things surrounding it, or pretty special to have like a card representing your new beginning and then have a bunch around it. So it can have its own little appeal when it comes to marketing your business. It could be kind of cool, right? Like it could add like a nice little touch. So if it's something that, like I said, if it's something you feel called towards, I really recommend trying it. It can help you gain clarity on their perspective and their complex situations. And it can also give a stronger connection between the reader and the querent. And also, if you're doing this in person, you could even let them pick their own card to represent themselves, which I think could be kind of special too. So anyway, that's some information on significator cards. I thought that I'd just kind of put this together because it is something that I've talked about on a Q&A here and there, but nothing that I've gone this in depth with. So I just wanted to give a little bit more information than what I have before. Any other questions, guys? Yeah, I've thought of that too, James. That's true. Unless you pull a significator card from a second deck. In the 80s, they were popular. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like they are less used nowadays. I think you're right. Not that I read in the 80s, but I do think that they had more of an appeal in the past. Okay, this is a great question, and I would love for you guys to share in the chat your answer to this question too, because here's the thing: I've done a lot of work on my self-love, my self-worth. I've done a lot of work on my boundaries. I've done a lot of work on feeling good. So like I don't seek validation from others in the same way that I used to. And so my my answer to this question is going to really reflect that. And so I just want to make sure to preface that I've done a lot of work to get to where I'm at right now. And what I can say is the question is, do you ever get feedback from others, such as calling you voodoo, being a witch? If so, how do you handle it? So first I want to talk about how it makes me feel, and it annoys me. It annoys me for people to tell me how to live my life. It annoys me for people to judge me. It annoys me when people are telling me I'm going to go to hell. It's just annoying. It's like so unnecessary. It's so not asked for. It's so annoying. So that's pretty much the emotion. But I think noticing the emotion is really important. Noticing like if you feel bad, if you feel judged, if you feel If there's anything that gets triggered for you, there's definitely some things to work through. There's some self-love, there's some worthiness, there's some, like, uh, spiritual closet work to do. Like, all of these things could be resonant if you have, like, strong feelings about it. And obviously, I also wanna say that it's different when it's a stranger in your family. And I have to say that nobody in my family has outright said anything about this. Even if they've thought it, they've never done it. And I think it might be more triggering. So I'm just annoyed, which to me doesn't feel triggering. It just feels like, "Ugh, again." But if it was a family member, I might get triggered, right? I might have a different emotion about that. So I also want to talk about that too. How I handle it is I just block and move on. Block and move on. Everything that I do is, online. I do some events sometimes, but they're spiritual events, so nobody's come up and been like, "Oh, you're a witch." Um, so all of those experiences have been from people that I don't know and have been from people online, and I just block and move on. Um, I've even thought, like, sometimes they put them on my a lot of times, they put them on my ads, and I thought about just leaving them there, but if I did, it's just rage bait for my people. And I don't know that I wanna use it like that either. I think that just to not even give them a platform, especially one that I'm paying for, to let them spew that sort of rhetoric, I just block and delete and move on. Um, I'm a witch, so it doesn't bother me. I love being a witch. I picture my heart opening like a rose, and I go about my day. Great job, guys. If I get called a witch, that's good, unless it's my family, and I'm going to hell definitely. Yeah, I think the thing that, like, really annoys me is the, like, "You're going to hell" stuff or "You're doing a sin." Like, just believe what you wanna believe and let me believe what I wanna believe. Um, get out of my business, like, go mind your own business, friend. Yeah, Maria says, "I got that from my own family telling me it was taboo. It took me all these years to get comfortable to do readings. I wish I just ignored them. My reading has been helping me uncover my blockages because of them. Just do it anyways." Yeah. And if you have a situation where you need to care about what your family thinks to be safe, um, or for your inheritance or whatever, right? Like, maybe just keep it from them. That your family doesn't have to know everything about you. Block them on your social media channels, whatever you have to do. Um, I understand needing to stay in the closet, so to speak, under certain situations, um, because it's beneficial to us sometimes not to show our full self to people, when it has true consequences on our lives, like our safety or security. Um, However, just set your boundaries and decide what you're willing to do about that. And honestly, if I had a family member who messaged me on Facebook and said, "You're gonna go to hell for this," I would block them and move on. If I saw them at a family reunion, I'd probably just avoid them. Um, Stacy's over here. I love that, Stacy. That's awesome. Stacy says, "I went to go get blood work a few months ago and I was wearing a pentagram. Um, I'm not sure how to pronounce the medical practitioner that she's talking about, but the medical practitioner giggled and said, 'What, are you a witch or something?' And I said, as a very matter of fact, 'Yeah, I am.'" She was just very uncomfortable and backed out of the room. Yeah. Yeah, James says, "I don't wanna upset my mom." And, sometimes it's caring not to share everything with your family, right? We don't have to share everything with our family if we don't want to, and especially if it's going to, hurt them or hurt us. It's just not necessary. So, yeah, you don't have to. Um, but just, like, really think about your boundaries and think about what you're gonna do in certain situations. Like, it's really good to plan ahead. If you're planning on telling your family, what are you gonna do if you get a negative reaction? Decide prior to telling them. Um, if you want to create, for example, social media accounts because you wanna become a tarot reader via business, but you don't want your family to figure it out, use different names. Don't use your real name. and create a new Facebook, create a new Instagram, create all new social media under that other name and go by that name in your business. And block your family on all the accounts. Make sure to block them. Right, Lori. Yeah. Any other questions, guys? This has been I can't seem to get away from the 2-hour-long lives, can I? It's been a long one. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. Thanks for sharing with me and chatting with me. This has been so fun, and I hope you found a lot of ahas. If you want to share an aha before we close out for today, um, I would love to hear an aha that you had from the training or the demonstration. And thanks for being here. I do have a special event coming up on Tuesday at 1 p.m. Lori and I will be going live, and I'll be posting about that probably today or tomorrow. So stay tuned for that event to be popping up. I should have invited everybody to the event for today. I'll try to do that for next Mondays too. So we have an event next Monday, and we have an event next Tuesday at the same time that this one was. I love that, Storm. Yeah, great. You're so welcome, guys. You guys are awesome. Thanks for being here. Maria says, my aha was that the reading was to be connected to each other. Yeah. Yeah. And you do that with your manifestation in this challenge. And honestly, if you're doing a lot of readings for yourself anyway, they probably all have one underlying theme, and it's probably something you're trying to manifest. Sometimes it's something that we're struggling with. And the more that we can shift that to something instead that we're working on is going to put more attention and focus onto what we're working on. And it's going to shift that energy. So if you find that you're having a lot of, I'm just going to use fear as an example. If you find that like you're doing a lot of readings for yourself and it's all about fear or something, some sort of negative emotion or quality, can you do spreads intentionally on what you're trying to achieve instead, which would feel maybe comfort or calmness or being able to do the thing despite the fear, like focusing on action or focusing on calmness or focusing on comfort with your readings instead of on the fear itself. My aha was not to be afraid to find meaning in a card that doesn't seem like it fits 100%. It's all tarot reading is creative thinking. So, we have the standard definition of all the cards, and the more that we can remember them, the best. I can tell you unequivocally that if I'm watching somebody do a reading online and it has zero part of the reading has anything to do with what any of the cards mean, it just feels like a whole sham. But there's straying, there's levels, there's fluidity, right? They're all at the same time, Maida. 2 p.m. Central Time. Yeah, so feel free to stretch and bend and fluid and creative think. That's what it's all about. Oh, that's awesome, Storm. Yeah, that's how I shuffle actually on the sides like that. I started doing it when I had these really big cards, and it's really the only way I could shuffle them. I couldn't shuffle them in the other way, and I just liked it so much. It's my preferred shuffling method now. I also, in addition to that shuffle, I do like the weird cut in my hand shuffle, like just kind of, I pull some out, let some drop. I do this shuffle a lot too. Alrighty, guys. Thanks for sharing your ahas. I can't wait to see more of your spreads. You guys are doing amazing. If you have any questions, let me know. Tag me. If you need feedback, let me know if you need feedback. And I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Bye.